How do you know if you are a customer of choice to the supplier that you're trying to work with? So when we're evaluating suppliers, you may not realize it, but your supplier is going to evaluate you as a customer. And they might evaluate you based on this 2x2 square. You have development, core, nuisance, and exploitable. So this is based on long-term attractiveness of the account, because you're an account to the supplier, and the relative value or profitability of the current business you're bringing them. So where does your company fall on this in the eyes of your supplier? So let's look at a routine buy. So the supplier, if they perceive you as a nuisance, they're not really going to invest anything into this process. They're going to automate it as much as possible. And you should look for another supplier that values you more. If you're exploitable, your actions, you should monitor market pricing trends, so you're not overpaying, and look for another supplier that values you more. See a pattern there, at least for those two? Development. So your action should be to find out why you are attractive and ask them, should I increase your business? Should you increase business? Or can you leverage this relationship? Maybe you can leverage it to get better pricing, better terms, better quality. How do you leverage it? And if you're core, your actions should be that you found a great match. Ask, does a long-term contract make sense? Should you increase business? Should you bring them more business? So these are for routine buys. Think office supplies. That's a routine buy, right? Not much thought goes into that. But a long-term contract. Should you enter into a long-term contract for routine buys, maybe with Staples or Office Max or whoever it is your office supply supplier? Well, it could be worth it. All right, so what about leverage buys? Well, if you're a nuisance, then you should, again, there's a poor match. You should look for a new supplier or change your expectations. If you're exploitable, the supplier perceives you as an exploitable customer, well, you found a poor match again. And this one is basically going to be adversarial. It's going to be us versus them. Just look for a new supplier. Development, you found a good match. But don't overplay your hand. You are not as important to the supplier as you might think. Remember that. The supplier may not need you as a customer. So core, you found a good match. Seek cost savings and premium service. Consider joint cost savings projects. Well, if you're part of their core business, well, you could probably get some premium service, such as a dedicated account executive that is going to answer your phone call. You don't have to call the 800 number. You just call this other number and you're going to get somebody's desk phone and they're going to answer it. That would be premium service, right? So, and you can also get more cost savings because they want to keep you. What about a bottleneck? So if the supplier sees you as a nuisance, once again, you found a poor match. Go find a new supplier. Exploitable, pretty much the same thing. Go find a new supplier, because that new supplier or that old supplier, your current supplier, may not really value you as a customer. Development, if they see you as a development account for them, you found a good match, but the supplier won't guarantee much. And that could be delivery. They might not be able to deliver on their promises because they may take the product that should be going to you and put it onto a core customer because they value them more. So you found a good match if you're a core customer to them. Manage risk proactively and consider supplier development opportunities. Work together. Become better together. And then we finally have our critical buys. So if we're a nuisance, once again, found a poor match. If we're exploitable, once again, we're a poor match. Find somebody else. Development. If our supplier sees us as a development, we found a good match. But the mutual dependence is missing. They don't really need our business, but they like our business. And you may want to consider figuring out how to increase your spending with this supplier. And if you are a core customer of this supplier, you found a great match, and you want to explore opportunities for strategic partnerships and co-creation of value. So, I know I went through that pretty quick, but that's what it is. If you are a nuisance or exploitable, and that's how your supplier sees you, get a new supplier. Don't stay there. If you're in the development category, try to see what you can do to get into the core. Be a core customer of that supplier. Because if you get there, there's a lot more opportunities just waiting for you to grab a hold of as a company. So this was topic 8, supplier selection. How do you pick your supplier? The process and why you would do certain things. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. And I look forward to talking to you more in our next topic.